Now, recently news came out of the FBI raid on former campaign manager Paul Manafort. Now, that raid happened back in July. Now, that might not be good news for the president as they seize tax documents and other information from his home. Now, Robert Mueller, it seems like he is zeroing in on Manafort in order to build a case against him, so maybe he can squeeze some information out of him about Trump's inner circle as it relates to the investigation into Trump's ties with Russia. Now, remember, the investigation, it's not really about election meddling anymore. It's not about possible hacking. It's about whether or not Donald Trump has a financial deal with Russia and whether or not the Russian government, because of that deal, has undue influence over our president. That's something that we would like to know. For example, if, say, Hillary had won and Saudi Arabia had given lots of campaign, well, not campaign donations, but lots of money to her foundation, which of course they did. Well, you would want to know if that donation meant that they had some sort of undue influence over Hillary Clinton. Same situation, you would want to know that, so you would do an investigation. Now, so they're looking into Manafort, right? And to his credit, he seems to be cooperating with that federal investigation. Now, unfortunately for Trump, he is actually quite worried about this. Where's my evidence? Well, it actually goes to an article in the National Enquirer. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Slate explains, just hours after that Post story broke, the Enquirer went public with a story about Paul Manafort having an affair. Oh, that's interesting. Now, in this, yes, I had the misfortune of actually having to read it. In it, they write, Manafort was caught in a sleazy sex scandal with a hottie younger than his own daughters. Scandal! Oh my God, scandal. Now, they wrote that he is, quote, a tawdry adulterer who even wore his wedding ring while romping with a 33-year-old mistress in the bedroom he shares with his wife. Okay, so wait a minute now. You might be asking, what does a sleazy article in some ridiculous grocery store tabloid have anything to do with Donald Trump and the investigation into Russia? Well, for that, I ironically go back to Morning Joe. Now, during his recent feud with MSNBC, Morning Joe host Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, who were fucking. I don't have a problem with that. Maybe some people do, but I don't have a problem with that. Now, during that little fight, and before the news came out that they were actually going to get together, Trump seemed to suggest that he had some influence over the Enquirer because they were about to launch a story that was going to expose that affair. Now, Trump tweeted out, watched low-rating Morning Joe for the first time in a long time. Fake news! He called me to stop a National Enquirer article. I said no. Bad show. Oh, I love that. Bad show. Bad show. No treat for you. So, look, again, that tweet, it's a little weird, right? Again, we know that turned out to be true. They came out and said, hey, yeah, we are actually together, and we plan on getting married. Okay, wonderful. Nobody cares. Now, or at least I don't care. But Trump, during that time, tried to use the story of their affair as leverage to stop them from criticizing Trump. Which, again, seems to be very interesting. But where's the proof that Trump has some editorial say in the National Enquirer? Well, for that, I actually go to the Washington Examiner. That is a conservative publication. Now, they write, David Pecker, I'm sorry, I had to laugh. That's the guy, okay? David Pecker, chief executive of American Media, Inc., which owns the Enquirer, has been friends with Trump for decades. Last spring, the Enquirer made its first ever political endorsement, throwing its support behind Donald Trump. During the campaign, the Enquirer attacked Trump's rivals, running a story that linked Senator Ted Cruz's father to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Oh, that ridiculous story. Again, it's a tabloid. Obviously, it deals in actual fake news. Now, the Enquirer's post-election coverage of Trump has also been, in their words, glowing. Boasting in headlines, Trump takes charge. Success in just 36 days. And proof of Obama, a wiretap Trump. Lies, leaks, and illegal bugging. Oh, very interesting. Now, you might think, okay, Trump's trying to use a story that was going to come out, wasn't out yet, as leverage against Morning Joe. And they're absolutely ass-kissing coverage of the president. I can be fairly certain that Trump and the Inquirer, well, they seem to have some ties. Now, it turns out that the president has a long history with tabloids. In fact, he loves tabloids. There was a former writer for Page Six. Now, Page Six is part of the New York Post, also a very pro-Trump publication, who explained just how much Trump actually loved tabloid media. Now, as editor of the New York Post, Page Six, he said, and later as columnist for the New York Newsday, I needed to fill a lot of space, ideally with juicy stories of the rich and powerful, and Trump more than obliged. I wrote about his real estate deals, I wrote about his wife, his yacht, his parties, and his houses. At times, I would let several months go by without a single column mention of the Donald. This doubtless upset him, as he loves Page Six, of course, because they wrote about him all the time, and used to have it brought to him the moment it arrived at his office. No, that is super sad, by the way. Oh, I love this tabloid because they write about me, and I'm sad when they don't write about me. Again, super sad, right? Okay. Now, Trump seemed an ideal subject for us, because so this is a writer for Page Six saying, look, Donald Trump loved us, and we liked writing about him, because guess what? There was a lot of good material. Now, they said Trump turned out to be the king of ersatz, not just fake, but false. He lied about everything with gusto. It seems a lot like what he's doing now. They continue. Denying facts was almost a sport for Trump, and even extended to mundane matters. For example, while still married to his first wife, Ivana, Trump bought a mansion in Connecticut, and she decorated parts of it. When I called to confirm the purchase, Trump denied it more than once. But wait, why would you deny that? Yeah, of course I bought a house. It's beautiful. It's a tremendous house, and Ivana's decorating it. Isn't that wonderful? But no, instead he's like, well, house? I didn't buy no house. What are you talking about, house? No, I didn't buy any houses. I don't buy any houses at all. What do you guys are lying. You're fake news. That's ridiculous. The reason that he does it is to create controversy, because that's who he is. So he lies about things and then tries to get attention. In fact, we have other stories where he used to call in to different news outlets giving information about Donald Trump and his marriages and his divorces using fake names, using pseudonyms. One of them is John Barron. So for this reason, for the fact that he loves to stir up shit and get people talking about him, well, that's why tabloids loved him. And look, when tabloids write about him, that's when he's interested in reading them. He's like, oh, what did they say about me? Oh, I see that they quoted John Barron there. I didn't have anything to do about that or anything here. So that's very interesting how, tabloids like the Inquirer and Page Six have had a long history with Trump. So now here's where this ties into Paul Manafort. Now, according to a White House insider who talked with the Inquirer, Manafort was, quote, betting another woman behind his wife's back, betraying her and his country. Well, wait a minute here. Betraying his country? Now, what could he mean by that? Now, look, we know so far that Manafort has been cooperating with the government. He's actually turned in many documents and has cooperated with the investigation. Now, right after this breaks, that he had actually had his house raided and certain documents taken, you conveniently have Donald Trump's favorite tabloid running a hit piece on him, calling him, number one, untrustworthy, and number two, saying that he betrayed the country. Again, this is very, very interesting. Now, here's why, okay? look, if he had any financial dealings that may have had, or any financial dealings that he may have had with Putin or the Russian government, if those are found, Trump could step back and say, oh man, look at Paul Manafort. He was lying to us. He betrayed me and the country just like he betrayed his wife. I mean, he cheated on his wife. Of course he was going to lie to me too about having any sort of deals with Russia or Ukraine or Putin or anything like that. So it's not my fault. Don't look at me. It's all Paul Manafort. I mean, how dare he? We didn't even know him to begin with. I mean, you know, we had nothing to do with this. In fact, here's a quote from Trump. I know Mr. Manafort. Haven't spoken to him for a long time, but I know him. You just know him? Not very well, but you just know him? In fact, according to the Daily Beast, the president and his White House staff have for months minimized Manafort's role and time on the 2016 presidential campaign, repeatedly describing it as a, quote, very short period of time. Very, very short period of time. Very interesting. Now, according to sources close to the president, many on Team Trump blame Manafort for special counsel Robert Mueller's diversions from election interference and foray into the private finances of the president's family and political and business associates. And Manafort's private financial dealings have spurred fears in the White House over what Mueller and his team of investigators might uncover in the veteran Republican operative's lucrative international business deals. Very interesting. And why would they be afraid? Again, why would they be afraid? Well, look, Prosecution 101 is finding dirt on somebody, right? Somebody more low level, in order to use that dirt in order to take down somebody much bigger. It's sort of like going after a drug dealer to hit a drug cartel. Now, you could charge the guy with drug dealing or something serious, or, you know, or you decide, hey, in exchange for information, we're going to let you plead down to a lesser charge. Now, what kind of information does Paul Manafort actually have? Well, I don't know. But the raid into his home and the fear coming out of the White House suggests that there might be something there. And that's, of course, very interesting. And it will be very, very interesting to see how this entire thing plays out. But it's pretty clear that Donald Trump is trying to distance himself from Paul Manafort because maybe, just maybe, he knows that there's something there, and that scares the shit out of him. We'll have to see. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.